Hi, now I'd like to talk to you about Cubism and Fauvism. These are two isms or styles of art that had a huge influence on the way that artists depict the space now and was a precursor to complete abstraction, which we will talk about later. And so Pablo Picasso and Henri Matisse were two of the main masters involved in the Cubist and Fauvist movements. But let's just talk about how they were able to change the way that people saw the world and saw the world of painting. And so I'm going to share my screen right now and show you a series of paintings. The first ones are about an artist from the 1930s, and his name is Stuart Davis. And Stuart Davis looked at this photograph on the left-hand side and painted a painting that's on the right-hand side. And as you can see, the painting on the right still looks like a community. It has a tree and houses and water and all the things that you can see in the photograph on the left-hand side, but it is interpreted in a new and unique way. What our goal is for our Picasso Matisse assignment is for you to look at an actual photograph, something that is representational and recognizable, and interpret it in a new and exciting way. The important thing to realize is that when artists are interpreting new things in new ways, they are still following the basic elements and principles of design. And you might have seen these words in art rooms before and have heard artists talk about this before, but it's important to understand what they mean. And what it is that artists use the simple tools to make art, the elements of design, such as shape, line, shape, form, color, texture, space, and value. Those are basic elements and basic tools in making art. And they apply those tools to the principles of design, which is how they use the tools. And once you achieve the principles of design is when you actually create a valid, beautiful work of art. So for instance, an artist could use line to create pattern. An artist could use line to create movement. An artist could use color to create emphasis, or could use texture to create balance. And that's what the elements and principles of design mean. And it doesn't matter whether you're painting a realistic painting, a rendering of a woman, or if you're painting something more abstracted, as long as you're using elements of design to achieve principles of design, you will have a beautiful work of art that visually works and will be appealing to the viewer. And so if we look right now at these two very different portraits, one of them is Girl with a Pearl Earring by the famous Vermeer, and the other one is Marilyn Monroe, painted by Andy Warhol. Both of them have similar qualities, a portrait of a woman. They have similar colors of the blue and yellow. They are just from the head up of the women. You know, all of these things are similar. However, they still use the elements and principles of design to create this sense of beautiful image. And so whether Andy Warhol is using makeup that is bigger than her lips and really electric yellow hair and blue eyes, it doesn't matter, because he's using the color to unify the picture, and he's using line and shape in order to create that sense of depth and texture. Same with the Vermeer painting. Those qualities are the same throughout both of them. There is texture, there's color, there's unity through repetition, and all of those things make for a beautiful painting. The important thing I want you to realize now is the difference and similarities between Fauvism and Cubism. If I could simplify it into the basic shapes, Cubism equals the changing and the using of shapes in a painting, and Fauvism is the changing and the use of color in a painting. It's much more complicated than that, but if we were to simplify it, Cubism equals shape, Fauvism equals color. And so if we look at Cubism, Pablo Picasso was one of the leaders of Cubism, but he was not alone. Braque and some other artists were working in this way. And what their idea was to stop creating depth in a painting and stop trying to create this illusion that miles or there's a big amount of space in the painting, and to flatten the painting down to its basic shape and divide things up into basic shapes as if we're seeing multiple planes at the same time. And it changed our perspective of things and our perception of things by still making recognizable imagery. A woman with a spoon and a cup, a woman playing a mandolin, a still life, but changing it in such a way so that they have geometric shapes and seeing multiple perspectives. They also began to use more muted colors of just the browns and grays, although later on Picasso was influenced by the Fauves and also used bright colors. But in the beginning, the Cubists were definitely muted tones, used flat shapes, and try to play with the planes in an object and to show multiple perspectives at the same time, in versus only seeing it from one realistic view. The next style is called Fauvism. Fauvism means wild beast, and that's what the critics called these paintings when they saw them. And what the Fauves did, and it is Henri Matisse, in addition to Duran and some other great artists, is that they wanted to change the meaning of color. So for instance, an apple is red, a sky is blue, leaves are green. And the Fauve said, why do we need to stick with that? Why do we need to always have everything what's called local color, which is the color it actually is? Can we just start to create paintings that are more about design and about composition and about how color has emotion, and color can be shape, and color can make us feel a certain way, and it does not have to represent real life. And so the Fauves turned on its head the idea that cool colors recede and get more dull in the background, brighter colors are up front and are richer in the background. They're like, forget about that. We're going to start to make images flatter, make images based on design and patterns, make images that have brighter, more vivid colors that have a more emotional connection to us versus ones that represent real life. And so between the Cubists, who were trying to flatten out space and change things into geometric shapes, showing multiple perspectives. And then the Fauvists at the same time saying, why do we even need to make something look a realistic color? We can still paint beautiful paintings, even if they're not the way they depict in the real life. This was the beginning of the change that changed painting history forever. And I'm so glad it happened, because now we're much freer with our paintings and to be able to paint any way that we want, any color we want, because the Fauves and the Cubists said, we're not painting life. We are painting paintings. And if you wanted it to look real, then take a photograph. Now we're going to paint in new and exciting ways. And Fauvism and Cubism started this new and exciting way. Georgia O'Keeffe was still painting in her abstraction with her realistic colors and realistic shapes, but it was a Cubist and Fauvism that were saying, let's all turn everything upside down and paint in new and exciting ways.